Hey everyone, welcome back to Sip and Talk. I have to tell you, I'm in a particularly fantastic mood today.
Oh yeah, what's the occasion?
Honestly, the sun is shining, the coffee is hitting just right. I mean, I'm on my third cup, which might explain why I'm talking a little fast. But welcome back to all our Sip and Talkers out there.
Yep.
We have an incredibly fun deep dive today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're in right now.
Yeah, so before we jump in, I have to bring something up. We got a comment from a listener over in Taiwan. Shout out to Taipei, by the way.
Oh, right. I saw that one.
Yeah. So they labeled us, and I'm quoting here, as liberal rationalists who were adhering to a techno-elite discourse. And I sat there reading that, and I thought, wait, does that sound bad? Or does it actually sound kind of interesting? Like maybe I should be wearing a black turtleneck and sipping espresso right now.
I hate to break it to you, but being the absolute buzzkill that I am, I didn't just accept the label. I actually looked it up. I audited the definition.
Oh, no. Break it to me gently.
So it essentially implies this extreme, almost religious belief in rationality, in data, the scientific method, using cost-benefit analysis to solve basically all social, political, and economic problems.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't sound terrible yet.
Pay for it. It treats society like a giant computer system that can just be optimized and debugged.
Debug. Look, considering the state of the world right now, who wouldn't want a little debugging? A little optimization sounds kind of nice.
Sure, but it paints this picture of a mindset that's a bit like a cold-blooded killer, Yeah. So focused on the spreadsheet and the clean rows of data that you miss the actual breathing human being standing right in front of you. So I have to ask, are we really that extreme?
Well, I think it depends on if they meant it as a positive exaggeration or a negative one. Sip and Talkers, you'll have to tell us. Because the techno-elite means we actually care about facts and data instead of just screaming on the internet. I will gladly take the badge.
Right, but there's a danger zone. When extreme rationalism becomes this sort of religion that totally ignores the irrational parts of life, and let's be honest, power dynamics, culture, human flaws, those are mostly irrational.
Yeah, okay. The label's starting to sound a lot less complimentary now.
And honestly, if we really are these soulless techno-elites, I should probably run a regression analysis on all those dad jokes you make to see if their return on investment is actually hitting our target.
Hey, my dad jokes have a very high intangible asset value. The ROI is measured in groans, not dollars.
Uh-huh, sure.
But okay, I get your point. I think what that listener was getting at is a concept that is everywhere right now, especially in Silicon Valley, this idea of instrumental rationality.
Exactly. It's a massive mainstream mindset right now, the belief that absolutely everything is calculable. Social problems aren't tragedies, they're just bugs in the code.
Which reminds me of that analogy you told me before we started recording, the tech bro thing.
Oh my gosh, yes. This captures it perfectly. So imagine you have a terrible cold, you're congested, you feel awful, and you just want a little sympathy from a friend.
Just a simple, that sucks, feel better.
Right. But instead, this tech bro friend pulls up a pharmacokinetics chart of acetaminophen to prove to you statistically that based on your body weight, you will not be in pain in 30 minutes.
I mean, technically he's not wrong.
He's technically correct, but he is socially failing. It's not rational in the human sense. It's inhumane. You don't want a chart. You want a connection.
That is the perfect setup for today's deep dive. We are looking at the boundaries of rationality here in 2026.
The premise is basically, what if society really were complex software that could be optimized?
So the title of today's deep dive is The Double-Edged Sword of Rationalism, Optimizing Society or Becoming Subservient to AI. And look, we have to be fair. I want to start with the positive view, the engine.
Yeah, the appeal of the engineering mindset.
Because there is a massive appeal. Think about data governance versus emotional blackmail. We live in an era of populism and shouting matches. Relying on authoritative data like reports from the OECD or the IMF, it feels like a life raft. It helps us avoid meaningless political screaming.
It's the desire to maximize efficiency. We call it engineering thinking. If you can use algorithms to optimize resource allocation, whether that's carbon credits or figuring out vaccine distribution, you theoretically reduce human bias. You aim for precise results.
And we have the numbers to back that up. Looking at some technical economic reports from Bloomberg, they indicated that automated decision-making systems have actually reduced global logistics energy waste by about 15% annually.
We really need to pause on that 15%. It sounds like a small tip at a diner, but in global logistics. Container ships, air freight, a 15% reduction is the energy equivalent of powering a medium-sized country for a year.
Wow.
It's not just a neat little efficiency trick. That is planetary survival.
It's huge, and it goes beyond logistics. The Financial Times noted that 70% of key decisions in global 500 companies are now AI-assisted.
70%?
Yeah. The corporate world is so desperate for certainty in a chaotic world, they want to know the answer is mathematically right, not just whatever the loudest guy in the boardroom says.
So that's the engine. It works, it saves money, it saves energy. But as we transition here, we have to talk about the blind spot. Rationality as a religion.
The limits of debugging society.
Right. There was a great discussion in the New York Times recently about the invisible power of algorithms. People love to say, well, the data decided, but data is neutral. The people collecting it, the people writing the logic, they are not neutral.
Exactly. And the value of the irrational gets totally ignored. Society isn't a machine. Human dignity, cultural memory, love, those aren't cost-effective. You cannot debug them.
You really can't. And when you try, you get these information silos. It breeds this incredible arrogance among the techno-elite. This attitude of, I have the data, therefore I am right. It totally marginalizes voices that don't fit neatly into a spreadsheet cell.
Which leads right into the rounding error problem.
Oh, this part is chilling.
It really is. The New York Times piece criticized how data-driven statecraft often ends up sacrificing minority interests, because in a pure weight analysis, their suffering is statistically viewed as an acceptable loss.
Just a rounding error.
Right. To a human, it's a life. To the machine, it's a decimal point.
And this brings up what The Economist warned about back in 2025. They called it the new technocracy. When you over-rely on data analysis, it leads to the depoliticization of politics.
That's such a key phrase, depoliticization.
Because when every single issue becomes a technical problem to be solved by AI, we lose the space to discuss values. We stop asking, should we do this, and only ask, what's the most efficient way to do this?
We lose the moral dimension entirely.
We do.
Which brings us to a really, really weird place. Are we being formatted? The human mirror. Because it's not just how we run the government, it's how we are changing our own brains.
Yes.
And I want you to tell that story you shared before we started, the horror story.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I will share it, exposing myself to all our sip-and-talkers. This happened just recently. I was arguing with a really close friend, a real flesh-and-blood human being.
Right.
We were bickering about something totally stupid, and I looked them dead in the eye, and I actually said out loud, I said, your argument contains 3 logical fallacies. I suggest you redirect your emotional output.
You told a human to redirect their emotional output.
I did. I stood there and I literally thought, oh my God, am I becoming an AI prompt?
I would have thrown a drink at you, honestly.
I know. It was terrifying. I wasn't speaking like a friend. I was speaking like a predictive text generator.
It's hilarious, but it's exactly what the MIT Technology Review is talking about. They call it linguistic and cognitive convergence. They observed that as humans spend 5+ hours a day collaborating with AI, writing emails, drafting reports, our human expression is actually becoming structured and de-emotionalized.
We're mirroring the machines. We used to say things like, I feel this plan is bad. Now we say, based on current data dimensions, the risk-reward ratio is unfeasible.
We are becoming so precise, so calm, and so incredibly boring.
It's what linguists are calling algorithmic conformity. There is this huge psychological pressure to sound professional, right?
Yeah.
So writing styles are trending towards statistical safety. People use AI to smooth out all their edges.
And what we lose is creativity. There was a brilliant piece in The Atlantic pointing out that human creativity almost always comes from imprecise analogies. It comes from jumping intuition.
From being a little bit wrong.
Exactly. But AI has convergent thinking. It seeks the single best, safest answer. It completely kills the happy accidents of human thought.
If we all speak the exact same optimized language, where do new ideas even come from? We optimize away our humanity.
So we have to synthesize this. We need rationality as a tool, not a master. And I think breaking down the 2 types of rationality really helps here.
Right. Let's give everyone a structural contrast. On one side, you have instrumental rationality. That's the AI-oriented one. It's about efficiency, probability, induction.
And on the other side, you have value rationality. That's human-oriented. That's justice, moral courage, intuition.
So let's look at the so what here. Take international politics. the U.S.-China tech war.
Oh, this is a great example.
If you look at something like the CHIPS Act, and you only look at the data, the chip capacity, the number of patents, you completely miss the reality of the situation.
Right, you miss the national security fear, you miss the identity politics.
Exactly. The historical baggage and the deep emotions driving that conflict cannot be calculated by a formula. If you ignore the value rationality, you cannot understand what's actually happening.
I love the navigation analogy you used earlier.
Oh, yeah. Think of it this way. Rationality is your GPS. It is fantastic at telling you exactly where you are and what the traffic conditions look like. It's a great tool.
But where you are actually going and how you feel about the scenery along the way, the GPS doesn't know. That is decided entirely by emotion and values.
The GPS can't tell you if the destination is worth the trip. That's perfect. So, to wrap up today's deep dive, going back to our listener in Taiwan, if techno-elite means insisting on facts, I think we gladly accept the label.
Definitely.
But if it implies we're robots ignoring human warmth, then we really need to add some whiskey or at least some strong coffee to this recording studio to warm up our thinking.
Seriously. You know, historically speaking, in the 19th century, humans learned to move like robots on assembly lines. Now, in the 21st century, we are learning to talk like AI.
That's wild to think about.
My final thought for everyone listening is this. We absolutely must keep our noise.
Keep the noise.
Yes, the illogical jokes, the inexplicable emotions, those are the precious bugs that prove we are biological beings and not just backup data.
I love that. The bugs are the feature. Prove you're human. Make a weird analogy today.
Please do. And, hey, speaking of irrational behavior, I have a very important, highly emotional call to action for all of you.
Oh boy, here it comes.
You absolutely have to go subscribe to our old friend Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life. He's posting all these new travel vlogs, and frankly, I have this completely irrational fear that if we don't aggressively promote him, he's going to stage a coup and take our spot on this show.
It's a valid fear. Hand over the views, people, or he's going to come take our microphones.
Seriously, I like this chair. Give him your views. Go watch Mickey to Life.
Go keep your chaos, stay a little noisy, and don't let the algorithm smooth out your edges.
And of course, make sure you are subscribed to the Sip&Talk podcaster, Sip&Talk Deep Dives, so you never miss out. We will see you in the next episode.
Catch you next time.